Good evening, lords and ladies. DJ Craigie here with the Progeny Behind the Fang podcast, and joining me as always, my amazing wife and co-host, Ming Chow and Neapolitan Wu. And we are here with two very special guests. We have the one and only power couple of arches, Arch Lucian and Arch Resa. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you
guys.
so much.
We're
Happy
so
to be here.
excited.
Oh,
Thank you
yes.
for coming and honoring us with this interview.
It's been a long time coming, so we'll jump right into it. So, first off, greetings to you, Arch Resa and Arch Lucian. It's an honor to be doing this interview. We've been trying to get our times to match up now for about a month or so it's perfect. If you would please introduce yourselves to the community for those of you who do not know who these awesome people are.
Go ahead, dear.
All right. Arch Lucian, Arch of the Blackburn bloodline.
Ooh, very big bloodline.
And I am Arch Resa from Ravensclaw bloodline.
Both very famous, iconic people, iconic lines.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so now tell us about your embraces, each of you, how you started off, how you came to find Progeny. What were your sires like, and how did it all go for you guys?
Well, mine wasn't conventional. I was in that other system, and believe it or not, Arch Wooden, at the time was just Wooden, told me I needed to come to some special ceremony where I met, I guess, the clan sovereign at the time, and just told me to jump on this little pose ball, and I asked, we did the embrace, everything was great. I got this little box, and I said, oh, what do I do with this? And he said, nothing, you don't need anything to do with that. So honestly, I did not know that I became Progeny Vampire.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, a very long time ago.
Oh,
Wow, that's like the drive-through Vegas turning.
Yeah.
That's like, get on this and get out of here.
Sure was. And it was about we're going to say about a month later, I met Nestus Carthage. And she jumped in my IM and said, oh my gosh, dear, you're dead. I'm like, what are you talking about? I have the Forever Amulet. She says, no, dear, Progeny. And I'm like, huh? So that's how I learned about it.
Oh, wow, that's a great story.
Talk about being thrown right in.
Right?
Yeah.
But to be clear, I don't think even Wooden knew exactly what we were doing back then. I mean, we were both so new. We were both kind of learning at the same time.
Yeah, starting it off, yeah.
Wow,
that's an incredible story.
Yeah.
And look at how you've taken that and evolved. Like, that's very inspiring to all of the new ones out there that this could happen to, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely a learning curve, and I think that's why I do have a lot of I like to tuck people under my wing that has been what we say turn and burn, because they don't know, and how I got my start, I understand so fully on how that all works.
Wow.
Absolutely, yes. What an incredible story, very inspiring.
Yeah, I love that. Talk about on your way up from a turn and burn type of accidental situation. That is so cool. Good. Amazing.
Or when games first start out, they're very new, like she said, and so, it's a learning experience for everyone, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I miss Diabolic Nestus. Sheesh.
I get to check in with her from time to time, which is fabulous.
Yeah, well, that's good. Please wish her well for me. It's been far too long.
Will do.
Yes, we got to talk to her a few times, and she's amazing.
She absolutely
I have a lot of
is.
respect for her. Yeah. Dun dun dun. Arch Lucian, you're up.
And I can't wait to hear this, sir.
Yeah.
So I was in the other system, like Resa. And I was going to this club that was owned and ran by another famous vampire, Lazar Blackburn.
Oh, wow, yes.
He gets in my IM and says, "Would you like to be a real vampire?" I'm like, "Oh, what's that all about?" So he talked about it a little bit, and I did like a 2-week get to know ones in his. I don't think he even had a house yet, so he was a member of a house, and I got to meet several members within his house, and then we did an embrace. And the funny thing with my embrace at the time, and I still do it, I play a lot of gestures. So they was all cracking up on voice while I was doing gestures, and got turned and just kind of rose up through the ranks from there.
And that's
So a
incredible.
little bit more
Wow.
conventional, I guess.
Yes, yes. That's a good story. And who doesn't want to be a real vampire? I love
Right.
that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Laz is quite the mentor and teacher and all that good stuff. So
I've heard.
by the way, if I ever say dad during this time, I'm talking about Arch Lazar, former Archsage Lazar, and Resa takes him as dad as well. So
Hmm.
Okay.
And
And
I
I was
gotta
going to say
say,
that's your father, right? So,
right.
yeah.
and I have heard quite the different colorful stories about former Arch Lazar. I believe he was an Arch, correct?
Yes, he was. Yep.
Yes. I have heard nothing but great stories about him, so that is
Hmm.
must be an honor to be turned by such a legendary progeny vampire.
At the time, we didn't know what we was really doing. I mean, we would go out and fang bang and do all the things. But as got to know him, and I rose up from the ranks, and he's kind of pulling me along and egging me on to do more, taking siring individuals and becoming a house owner and clan owner and all the kind of good stuff, and then just learning from him as I went.
That's very interesting. Quite the
It's pretty
mentor.
amazing. He actually is who mentored me a lot in the Arch Conclave. When I
Oh,
when I
that's very cool.
raised up into there quite suddenly, he just said, "Come over here and sit down." So he's pretty amazing.
So
Yeah.
he kind of like tutored you in politics.
Absolutely
Okay.
did.
Wow.
Very
So,
cool.
so not only an epic maker, but an epic warrior, I'm told. So that is, wow, that is very cool.
Oh,
I
he's a
can,
great fighter. Yeah, just like Arch
Mhm.
Lucian. Yeah.
Yep.
well, okay. Well, so moving on, tell us, how did you both eventually work your way up to becoming an arch of your own bloodline?
Go ahead, dear.
Hmm.
Um, honestly, was not anything that I ever thought would happen. Um, I obviously I moved under Diabolic Nestus at the time, Arch Nestus. Um, learned as much as I could. I absorbed as much as she wanted to throw at me. Um, eventually, she made me a teacher, and then I started like running the university under SD. I was training everybody that was under the line. She used to make little innuendos here and there that one day she wasn't always going to be an arch, and I'd just laugh at her for years. Um, honestly, I'm not really sure how it exactly happened. From there, she had moved to Diabolic. Arch, well, now Diabolic Domino had taken over being Arch. I had stepped away from SL for about 3 weeks for some personal things, and when I came back, he IM'd me and said, "So you back?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm back." And he said, "What do you think about being a blood regent?" I was like, "Sure. I'm not. No, and yes, and I mean it was back and forth." Um,
Hmm.
Almost trying to
obviously,
talk yourself out of it, right?
It was
yes,
a
yes,
shock, I'm sure. Yeah,
it was,
it was scary.
it was a little bit, and then of course I did that, and then about a year in, he came to me and said that some things were changing, and get ready. And I did the same thing with him that I did with my mother Nestus, and said, "Nope, no, you're not. You're not going anywhere." And before I knew it, here we were. I was Arch of SD back then.
Oh, wow. So it just kind of
Wow.
fell into your lap. Just kind of happened.
Yes,
And-
but with a lot of work. I mean, I did do a lot of work to get there. So
Oh, yes, absolutely. Yes.
Oh, I
Right.
remember when I was just a baby vampire, I had actually reached out. I don't know if you remember this, Resa, but
I
I remember
do.
I reached out. I'm like, I see your name on my scan. I just wanted to introduce myself. Hello.
I
Oh,
do
Lord.
remember.
Yeah,
I
I
do
was.
remember.
That is so Craig, right? Oh, my God.
Yeah, I was just being brought in, and I was in the SD line. I remember that. I was.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
I
you were
do
in that
remember.
line? I didn't know that.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Yeah, it's.
And then
I did not know that.
I actually had to step away again, unfortunately, for about 2 years for real life. And so I had made Lily Sinclair was my blood regent. So, of course, I had passed the SD line on to her. It was the right thing to do. I couldn't be an SL. My time just wouldn't allow it. And then when I came back, um, talking with our Apron Oberon, he he wanted to bring Raven's Claw back full circle, where it had moved on a few times and the name had changed, etc. And I was a previous arch, so now I am the Arch of Ravensclaw.
Wow. And congratulations. What a
It's a great
prestigious line.
story.
Absolutely.
Yes,
I am very
congratulations.
honored.
It's quite the legacy that you take on, but you're an amazing leader. So that's congratulations.
Thank you.
And how about you, Sir Arch Lucian? How did you become the Arch of the Blackburn bloodline?
Oh my gosh. So when I was first embraced by Laz, all I wanted to do was fight and bite and kill. There's several either arches or maybe diabolics nowadays that I may have snacked on a few times. So after a little time, Dad finally convinced me to become a princeps. I grew my house to very large. I was dating and/or had a partner in crime. Miley was my partner in crime. We go out and fang bang a lot with Laz and even Lord Babu. Then we was under an arch for a little while that eventually got removed from the progeny system, Arch Raid.
Oh,
So
yes. Okay.
right. So Laz has his own clan. Well, Arch Raid knew of a clan at that time that was up for sale. So I bought a clan from someone that was retired from Progeny and SL. Well, I couldn't have my clan underneath Laz. I think he went under Exile of Cain for quite a bit. Well, when Arch Raid was removed, so was another arch by the name of Arch Dark from Dark Retribution. So let's see here. Arch Darlington took over Dark Retribution and then renamed her line the Carolinians. So Miley and I took the clan over there. Kind of doing my thing over there, and she would call me for how should I do this or how should I do this punishment? What's your opinion on that? And I want to say we had the clan over there for maybe 4 months, 6 max. And I came home from work one day and I logged in and Miley says, Darlington's going to make you blood regent. I'm like, oh, okay.
Nice.
So I was her blood
Wow.
regent for a little while. It was kind of an unspoken alliance between the Carolinians and the Blackburn, or wasn't quite the Blackburns yet. Between I guess the Carolinians and Dad's clan. So maybe about a year goes by. I logged in and was talking to Laz, and he says through IM, he says, if I was to give you blood regent, would you come back home? I'm like, well, yeah. And he goes, well, scan yourself. So I scanned myself. He had already had it done. Like he already had that
Oh
much
my
faith and trust that I was coming back home. So,
Aw.
which was a great surprise. Continued to learn many things from him as his blood regent. A lot of things in Arch Conclave through him and Resa at the time when she was in SD. Dad was the Arch for I think a little over 4 years. And he was upset with some things that was going on between in general within the system, and I understood. And at the time, his health wasn't always the best. And he was just super stressed out. And he looked at me. He says, "Are you ready?" And I'm like, "I'm ready for what?" And he goes, "Are you ready for Arch?" And I'm like, "If you feel I'm ready, I'm ready." So that's kind of how that went. There was a little bit of politics involved for me to actually become Arch.
Yeah.
I had to do some interviews and do a few other things that blood regents that were moving up to Arch hadn't done and haven't done since, but it is what it is. And I wouldn't change it for nothing. January, was it first part of January marked 5 years for me as the Arch of the Blackburn bloodline. So
Wow.
very proud of that.
Congratulations. Yeah, that's an
Thank you very
incredible
much.
story as well.
It is.
That's
and
meaningful because you
congratulations.
both,
Absolutely.
yeah, you
Thank
both took over from people that meant a lot to you, that were
sure.
mentors, so that it makes it even more meaningful. And so you had to do a lot of stuff that Arch Resa did not.
Mhm.
So that's interesting as well. Yeah.
Mhm. But and I still have Laz's phone number, and I can still call him if I need assistance or need his opinion on
Mhm.
something. So I call him from time to time and ask him things. And if he does happen to listen to this, it was his birthday yesterday, so wish him a happy birthday.
Happy birthday,
Oh,
Dad.
happy belated birthday.
Happy belated birthday, Alaz. Hell yeah. You have a great impact on this system, as you can see. So,
Yeah, this is history. This is some amazing history, folks.
Yep, it's.
Absolutely.
Oh.
I remember being turned. I was told, yeah, if you see a guy named Laz, make sure you run away. So
That was the census for sure.
That was how it worked back then, for sure.
That's awesome. So now, since you both run your own bloodlines, I think a lot of people just assume that you guys are running your empires collectively, like king, queen type of thing, under one leadership. So is this correct, or tell us how it goes?
Absolutely
not. No way.
Nope.
Okay.
I think people.
See everyone?
Well, I think people think this because, oh gosh, dear, I don't even remember the date, but our father had an idea about alliances. Well, both of us being like-minded, we linked up long ago while I was still under SD and formed an alliance.
Yep, we did. Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I left, and he and Lily kept that going, and also added another Arch in her or his line in there as well. And then when I came back, I was still in the alliance because I still had SD blood at that time. The more that Lucian and I talked, some things had changed a great deal, not just in the alliance, but within Progeny in a whole. So we kind of broke off from that alliance with SD. And I just kind of waved in the wind for a minute. And then, of course, when I became Arch again, then we set an alliance between our bloodlines as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's how everybody in the system thinks, oh, well, gosh, they're just running it together. And then, of course, we got married and all the things, and we do not. All we do support each other's bloodlines 100%. But we are not running it together. He has his own stuff. I have my own stuff. He does his bloodline meetings. I do mine. We do not run it collectively.
Okay.
And there's no alliance either between the Blackburn bloodline and the Ravensclaw bloodline anymore because there's too many. There's some animosity, I guess, between individuals in each family So we're
Mhm.
not going to tell them who they can't feed upon or fight or bite or whatever you want to call it. So we just let that be. I don't attack any Ravensclaw, and as far as I know, Resa doesn't attack any Blackburns.
Nope.
So, but we let them do their thing, and if they feel they want to role play or do that, then we let them do their thing.
Well, and that's
So-
cool. So you
Yeah.
both run your own
Yeah.
empires single-handedly, but speak with each other for, like, if you need not counseling, but you know what I mean, for just to
Yeah.
run things by each other. That's great.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, we
Especially
bounce things off. Oh, go ahead,
Right.
dear.
Go Arch Conclave things and things like that, or hey, what did you think about that clan application or this clan application, all that kind of stuff. If and when there is a clan interviewing a princeps for an up and coming sovereign, we generally go together and interview the individual at the same time. So it does work, but it's not an alliance at all.
Well, that is so cool.
Yeah, you both seem very politically aligned. I think that's the proper word. And you are certainly of the like mind. So that's probably why everyone thinks that. And it works well for you guys, however you're doing it. So I just have a quick question though. Like, so if so-and-so from your line attacks one of your wives, like, do you get complaints? And like, how do you work that? Because they come crying to you and...
I mean, suck it up, Buttercup, is what I say to it. You know
I
what
can so see you saying that too.
you got
Yep.
into the system. You know what it takes. Would it be any different from somebody else's bloodline attacking you? Well, no. Then you better get on it.
I don't think we've really run into that often, though. I mean, I think
No.
it's very, very minimal.
Super minimal.
Well, and of course,
Right.
because you train your people very well, it seems, so they clearly know, like, Ravensclaw, not out of bounds, but hey, that might not be a good idea to bite that.
Right. And we do. The Blackburn family does have a pretty, I guess, decent reputation when it comes to fighting or biting. So it is what it is. If you see a blackbird on the sim, you're probably going to get nipped at least a little bit.
Hmm.
I know I
Yes.
always do.
Isn't that right, Lord Craigie?
Yes, that's right, sir. I have been out of the game a little too long, so... But yes, I see a blackburn, I usually get a nip.
I know I do. I'm like, I gotta go. Have a
Even
nice
from my
day.
sister Turtle, I see her pop in, and I'm like, is she going to bite me?
She
You
might.
just might,
My daughter might bite you for sure.
for
Right?
sure.
Love Turtle. She's awesome. She's
She's
amazing.
good peeps, ain't she?
Oh, yes.
She is, yeah.
known her since I very first started fighting and been a friend ever since, and one of the most loyal people I've met.
Oh yes, oh yes, she much is. That's another thing that we do that maybe crosses the wire some. Our children, we share many children from each other's lines.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
I mean,
Yes, we
just
do.
because we're different bloodlines doesn't mean that he's not dad or I'm not mom or etc.
Well, that is so cool. That's what my wife
That's
and I do with
beautiful,
our
yeah.
clans. Like, I'm father to all her children, and she's mom to my few children.
And they go to dad because he's nicer. Yeah.
I think it's opposite over here. He always calls me the nice one.
Yeah.
Aw.
They're all like, "Mommy, mommy."
I'm like, no.
Okay, so I gotta ask this. So, what is it like to be one of the most iconic and known power couples within the Progeny system? And I gotta ask, how did you two get together?
Yeah.
It always makes us laugh when we hear people call us a power couple or iconic because we don't see ourselves that way. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure 100% how it started. We were obviously when I came back and we were chatting and we made the alliance and this, that, and the other. I wasn't with anybody at all. He had come over. We were just chit chatting. and somebody was very interested in him. And the only thing I said to him was, "Be careful." And he's, "What's that mean?" And I was like, "A lot of people just want titles." It's one thing I have learned, excuse me, in the 10 years that I've been doing this, that it's all they can get by being with somebody that has a title, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And he just kind of stopped for a minute and said, I didn't think about it that way. And then all of a sudden we were dating. And that kind of how it happened.
I mean,
Well, that's awesome.
we just clicked. I mean, we knew each other, before
Long
she
time.
take her break. When she was Arch of SD, we obviously knew how each other worked, but I was either with somebody or she was. And then, I was over there chit-chatting with her. I think one of our daughters was over there, and I said something to her. I said something to Gothic and Resa about, "Hey, I'm dating this one," and that's exactly what Resa said. "Be careful." I'm like, "Oh, really? That's a thing?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's a thing." I'm like, "Really?" "Yeah." So I shut it down with that one, and then Resa and I have been together since.
Wow. And
How many years now? Do you
That's
guys know?
awesome.
Like, how many years have you been together?
Oh, you
2.5 years.
How many?
Wow.
2.5.
2.5. There you go.
awesome.
Congratulations to you two.
Thanks.
That's awesome.
Halfway to 5.
We're getting there.
Definitely. Well, married wise, 2.5. I mean, almost 3 continuously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wow.
When you think of love, you always think, oh, Arch Resa and Arch Lucian. I mean, you guys are a cute couple, and you're always like in the public eye, very, it's a beautiful thing to see. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So talk to us about the most enjoyable thing or things you do in Progeny.
Go ahead, dear.
Goodness. I mean, I love the political aspect of it, so I do enjoy that part of it very much. I am still always the teacher. I enjoy it. I don't know how else to say that. And sometimes I use situations as a teaching prompt as well. Also, we've found that we have to wear different hats at times. While we might be an arch, sometimes you got to take that off and look at some of the gray areas of things too. For me, I guess that is, for progeny wise, that's what I like the most. I mean, I do like to go out and do the little fang bang things here and there too, because it's just fun. And we all could blow off a little steam, but for me, I think it's the political aspect of it.
Oh, totally. That is admirable. A lot of people, they really enjoy that, the political and the family structure of Progeny. I do as well, for sure.
Yeah. But I also like that we have made meaningful connections with people literally around the world. I think it is the community that brought us together. Otherwise, we would have never known. Hence why we have families and, our blood ties, even some of them that aren't blood ties.
Mm-hmm.
Go off into different bloodlines, whatever, and still a connection that we've made and that we've treasured for all these years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, most definitely. The friendships and relationships you build are priceless.
Absolutely.
For sure. I think for myself, it's it's the whole family aspect as well. I also love to teach my up and coming vampires, rather they're say they're a fledgling, or let's say they're a princeps and looking to become a sovereign within the family. I love to promote from within and give them the tools and or guidance that they need to succeed within the progeny system as a whole. I'm telling them, if you would like to be involved, it's progeny is what you make it. You can be as involved as you want to be or not want to be. If you just want to feed and that be done, then that's fine. But you might not make a sovereign by just doing that. You're going to have to do the little extras and attend meetings and just be involved in general.
Get yourself
That's what I get
known.
out of, for sure.
It's good advice.
Mm-hmm.
So, as both of you had an amazing mentor, now you two have taken on that role for
Absolutely.
lots of people and improving their
Absolutely.
game as well. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I gotta say, and like the two of you combined, anybody that's with you
Power
guys is
couple, there
gonna
you go.
is definitely going to succeed if they want to and they're willing to put in the work.
For sure.
Yes.
So it has been a really
Yeah.
awesome interview to have you guys on here
Thank you.
today. Do you both have any parting words of encouragement or advice for the community or for the new and upcoming vampires?
Oh gosh. I mean, kind of just based on what he just said. I mean, it's all about what you want in it. There are some that join just because they want to be a part of something, and you have to allow that. You know, if they don't want to go out and bang bang, then respect that. You know, if you jump in their IM, you see them on a sim, and they tell you very blatantly that yes, I'm a part of this, but I don't really fight or whatever. Let that be that, and don't try to cause um harm or the bullying and some of the things that do happen, unfortunately,
Mm-hmm.
or all the way up to the ones who want to grow and want to one day become arch or above. I think you just have to go on both sides of it, and you have to be patient with it.
Ah, yes, Rome wasn't built in a day. Totally.
No,
For sure.
there was not. I mean, there are some days that you log in and you're like, oh, we're still dealing with this. But
Mhm.
I mean, for me, it has all been worth it. So I think anybody can get anything that they really want out of it, honestly.
For sure. I would also add to a lot what my beautiful wife said. They also need to remember that it is a game and not to
Yes.
take it completely personal when you are bit either. You know, there's no reason to get in somebody's IM and to badmouth, be the keyboard warrior, quote unquote, talk shit. You know, if you don't
Yeah.
like it, TP out, log out, come back in an hour. There's no reason to
That
be
upset.
hateful to somebody,
Right.
right, over a game. Like it's a game. We're here to have fun.
Yep.
Let's have fun with this.
Yep. At
And
the end of the
and
night.
again, align yourself with your like-minded peeps out there. If you're searching
Mhm.
for if you're this new vampire and you're not necessarily knowing or appreciate what your sire has to say, talk to the leadership within your house, clan, and or bloodline, and maybe there's a different spot for you to go. And if you can't find it there, maybe you reach out to a different bloodline and find a home that works better for you.
Hmm.
There's plenty out there that would be happy to show you the ropes and show you the way.
Instead of just taking off that HUD and saying I'm done.
Correct.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
many coma vampires out there. It's
Hmm.
it's not cool.
No, it's
Isn't
kind of
that
sad
crazy?
because it's such a
It is.
great game, and like you just said, one person could get bit and take it the wrong way and just say, ah, no thanks, detach HUD.
Right.
Mhm.
And it has happened a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the ones that we've come across that we've actually reached out to, that's exactly been their experience.
Mm-hmm.
Something really drastic happened or something like that. And they're like, it's just not a system for me. And I'm just like, okay, well, come talk to us. Let's see if we can figure out what exactly happened. And maybe there's a better fit for you somewhere. And it's not that sometimes we don't even take them in under ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes once we hear them, we say, oh, maybe Arch Zoe's place would be a great place for you, or maybe Arch Rashiel, or, etc. It's not like we're just going to try grab them all up. If they're not a fit, they're not a fit. And we don't take offense to
Right.
that.
For sure.
Oh, totally. Like, not everybody's gonna mesh well in a certain group. I get that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and you got to talk it out to figure it out.
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Wow. Well,
Now, Craig, before you close this out, I have a surprise question for you both. And Craig and I have been
Uh-oh.
doing a survey. Yes. Now, we need to know who your favorite vampire is of all time. Can be from movies or whatever, legend, lore, whatever you pick.
Oh, gosh. Yep, that is a surprise question. I mean, from way back in the day, I mean, obviously, I loved anything that came from Dracula. I was intrigued from just when I was young, teenager, maybe even preteen. I think I saw like an old black and white one. Yep, I'm dating myself there.
Mhm.
And I've just totally loved it. So the lore was always there. I did not, however, get involved with the little sparkly vampire thing
Hmm.
when those came about. However, when the Vampire Diaries came out, honestly, in the beginning, I didn't care for it. Took me a little while to kind of get into it, but then from there, the originals. So I'm going to have to go with Klaus Michelson from the originals. As
Oh, he's a
just
great
that,
character. Yeah.
he's just that iconic bad boy, and well, look who I'm married to.
I was just gonna say, and look who you married to. Yes. Yeah, that's awesome. So
I
you
don't
kind of
know.
brought it into your role play. That's
Yes,
awesome.
absolutely.
I wouldn't necessarily there's a actual character for me, but I'm a big fan of the underworld movies and that style.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
So all of that kind of stuff that goes on with those movies, that really intrigues me. So I mean, I will sit and watch those movies over and over again if I could.
Honestly, me too.
Oh,
I mean, even
yes.
when I first started, my name was Akasha in here. So,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, long time ago.
Gosh, Lucian, are you sure that it's not Edward from Twilight?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'm going to get murdered the next
I'm
time
the
he sees me
sparkling
in
one.
the
I'll
info
see you
hub.
at the safe hub when we're done.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say I'd love to run into Edward at the safe hub. He might get hurt.
oh yeah.
Yes. Oh,
We
he's
actually-
there.
that
Trust me. I've seen him.
Yes.
He's there.
He definitely does go there. One fact, I have a funny story real quick, if we don't mind, about
No,
the safe
please
hub
tell
and
us.
Edward and Bella. Way back in the day, I probably was only in Progeny maybe 6-7 months, and I want to say Domino was the Blood Regent by this time, of SD, and we were at Safe Hub looking for fights, out on the prowl. And some noob came in, which I mean, we all know what a noob is. And all she kept yelling all over the place was looking for her Edward everywhere. So we RP'd it the whole way out. It was great. He drew her over to us, and then all of a sudden he started talking to me and calling me his Bella, and sorry you can't have us, and this, that, and the other. So it was quite funny because those movies had just come out and they were so popular that everybody that came in here was like, "Oh, I'm going to be a Twilight vampire."
Yeah.
It was a
Oh,
fun
that's
fight
funny.
RP. It was great. I mean, the girl couldn't have been more than a week old in SL, so she didn't even know the ropes. And I'm proud to say she's still one of my daughters today. So
Oh,
that's
that's
so
an amazing
cool.
story. I love
Yeah.
that.
yes,
I love that. So you are Arch Lucian's Celine from the underworld.
yes, I guess that's what it is.
You
I
guys,
love it.
this has been one of the most fun and the most entertaining interviews I have ever done in the history of this podcast. Honestly, you both are amazing.
Yes.
Thank you.
And it's just been an honor just to sit down and chat with you guys and not get bit.
Yeah.
We haven't quite figured out how to
that's
do that
coming
through
later,
Discord.
Craig.
Yeah, as I say,
That's
we haven't
coming
quite figured
later.
out how to do it through Discord yet.
Yeah, when I go feeding later, I'll see Arch Lucian and be like, oh no.
Yeah, probably so.
Run! Yes, run.
Don't chip
Oh,
a
you guys
fang
are
if you bite
awesome.
me.
I
Yeah,
did that once. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, he's very old. Very, very old.
Reese's got baby fangs, so be.
I do. I've been Arch longer than him, but his fangs are tougher than mine, I will admit.
Oh,
Well,
you guys are awesome.
Been doing
Thank
it a
you
hot
so
minute
much.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You're most welcome. I was happy to do this for sure.
Absolutely.
Good
It was a good time.
it was. And
It was a great time.
thank you, everybody, for checking us out. And make sure you like and subscribe for more epic interviews just like this one. And thank you all for checking out the Progeny Behind the Fang podcast. And y'all have a
I
wonderful
hope you two
evening.
will come back.
Yes.
I hope you come
Absolutely.
back and see us again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you so much again. Good night, y'all.
Good night.
Good night.